Hello everybody, it's Ed Rosenberg again, and this evening I'm with Benjamin Berger. Benjamin, who's a CPA, who's a partner of Bernath and Rosenberg, an accounting firm in Midtown Manhattan. Benjamin has 20 years experience in dealing with government audits. Benjamin, how you doing?
Hi Ed, thanks for having me on.
Oh, my pleasure. Now a couple of questions. A lot of people are talking about sales tax in the Amazon sales community. One question I always wanted to know, if I have FBA inventory in different states, so I obviously have to collect sales tax wherever I have a physical location. Do I have to also collect sales tax if it's in Pennsylvania and California and Kentucky?
Okay, let me give you a quick background on sales tax. You are required to collect and remit sales tax for any state that you have nexus. Nexus, in the literal sense, means that you have a connection to the state. If you're doing FBA shipping, FBA Amazon currently has warehouses in 15 states. The majority of those will consider you having nexus. I understand the Amazon community is very concerned about the recent email from New York State that after a formal inquiry from Amazon, they will be releasing the names of all Amazon sellers with a New York State presence going back from mid-2013 until May of 2016. Now you have to understand that sales tax are trust funds. If you collect sales tax and you don't remit it, those are trust funds. And in a best case scenario, when they catch you, it will lead to penalties and interest. In a worst case scenario, it can be criminal charges as well.
You can go to jail for that?
Absolutely. I've dealt with cases that turn criminal because of the collection of sales tax and not actually remitting the funds. I think more of a challenge to your viewers are the fact that they did not collect sales tax when they're required to do so. That too also can have serious ramifications because not filing a sales tax return and collecting the sales tax, there is no statute of limitation. At some point, that can be 5-6 years down the road, the state can come back to you and charge you for any sales tax that you should have collected. So technically, you can get hit with a very big bill down the road long after you made the sale.
But they can charge you interest and penalties as well.
Interest and penalties as well. In New York State right now, filing your sales tax return and remitting it 1 day late is a 10% penalty on the sales tax.
Wow.
More than 60 days late, it's 10% plus 1% a month, up to 30% of the tax.
Right, so people were saying that when Amazon sent that email, and I got that email as well, that people were saying that if I never collected, and of course I never reported, I never filed any sales tax, that's one thing. But if I collected and I forgot to report, or I purposely forgot to report, then I'm in big trouble. Is that true?
Okay, the best advice I can give you is as follows. Make sure you're using a competent professional, somebody that has experience with sales tax rules. New York State and other states as well have a voluntary disclosure program. If you enroll in this program and you come to New York State and you tell them that I have failed to remit sales tax or I failed to charge sales tax, there is a limited look-back period. It can be 3 years or it can be 6 years depending on the circumstances. And at that point, they would charge you the tax and interest only. There will be no penalties and no possibility of criminal charges.
But can they get me for other things? Like once they're in my office, can they also, the state collects income? Maybe it's like inviting an audit for other things.
So my experience has shown that once you're in the voluntary disclosure program, you have to come clean on any other taxes, but they don't actually come and audit you.
So you're saying if somebody falls into one of these categories, either never collected, never reported, or collected, never reported, they should speak to an accountant and they should make the initiative of speaking to the state.
Absolutely. Now, depending, if the amounts that you would be subject to sales tax are immaterial, then you might want to take a chance and not go ahead and do it. I would not recommend that because if the amount is immaterial, just come clean and pay it. As your business grows later on and then you register with sales tax, one of the questions are, how long have you been doing business in New York State? Or how long have you been doing the business in the other state? And then it certainly invites them to an audit because they know there's a bigger fish to catch.
Right. Okay. Now, when you're selling online and you have to obviously collect sales tax in New York, so there's always one field, and I always put in 8.875 or 85, whatever it is. Why do I have to collect so much if not all my shipments are going to New York City? If it's going to Westchester, if it's going to those places, it should only be 6%.
You're correct. You should not be collecting the 8.385%. You should be collecting, each county has their own sales tax rate, and that's the rate that you should be collecting. If you're going to go ahead and just charge the highest rate to all your customers, at any point the customer can come back to you and ask for a refund or actually file a claim with the state. Today there are various software programs that tie into Amazon, relatively inexpensive, that will actually calculate and remit the sales tax for you by county, by zip code. I've seen one of them that's as inexpensive as $20 per return that they actually have to file. It's all automated, and it actually pulls the information directly from your Amazon online account.
So you're actually hurting yourself by doing that.
Correct.
Because the customer's paying.
The customer's paying a higher price.
Okay, what typically triggers an audit for Amazon sellers? And this could be the IRS too.
Generally, I would say this. Approximately 2 years ago, I was in a meeting with William Kaminsky, who's the former New York State tax commissioner. And he was discussing that New York State is investing millions of dollars in technology in order to have third-party referencing. At one point, they wanted you to report the credit card sales on your tax return. At this point, all of you receive a 1099-K, which reports credit card sales by month, which the credit card companies report to the state and the federal government as well. So what can trigger an audit is the fact that your business is located in this zip code, and all other businesses in this zip code have a 8 or 10% taxable sales, and you have no taxable sales. It can be as simple as Amazon reporting that they've collected on your behalf, and that was the email that actually went out to the Amazon sellers.
Right, and if something doesn't corroborate with what Amazon said they did and what they received, they're going to come back.
That is a very good chance of triggering an audit.
And what do you do? Do they physically come down to your location? What do you do if one of these guys come down to your office? Just let them in?
Well, depending, if they come down with a warrant, you have no choice but to let them in. But generally, the way the sales tax would work, you'd get a letter in the mail saying you've been selected for audit, and at that point, the best thing you can do is speak to your accountant or your lawyer.
One last thing, what do you think will happen with the Marketplace Fairness Act? Are you familiar with that?
The Marketplace Fairness Act is a proposed law which is in Congress right now, which would require, or at least allow, all states to join this streamlined sales tax collection, which you would be required to collect sales tax on sales to any state. I believe at this point close to 24 states have already joined, and it's just a matter of time till the others do as well, because everybody wants to collect whatever they can, and if their neighboring state is collecting it, why shouldn't they?
It's going to make it a lot harder to do business online.
It'll level the playing field, because anybody walking into any retailer pays sales tax, and the same thing as well with purchasing online. It'll take away that advantage.
Right. Okay, Benjamin Berger, that was really good. I appreciate it, and thank you for coming.
Thank you. A pleasure, Ed.
Okay.